Welcome to the Helios 11 prototype speed and day cruise test in the spring of southern France in the Mediterranean. Currently, we're cruising using no energy from the batteries. Everything is coming in from the solar panels. This right here is just 500 watts, roughly what I get from the lightweight flexible panels on the sides and the front deck of my boat. We're getting somewhere at around 3 knots using that power alone. It's not impressive and it's certainly boring. Now we're shifting to the main array of 8 standard panels that cost roughly 70 USD each, and we're getting 2700 watts from that array alone. In this clip we're cruising entirely on that wattage and the speed is around 6 knots. In this weather of moderate spring sunshine, we're decisively outpacing similar sized sailing boats, roughly 10 meters, and we're just using the main array. Only on that we're cruising faster. To make it absolutely clear, we're only cruising here on the top array energy. No battery is involved. Obviously it is connected to the system, but it's only charging. It's not at all involved in the propulsion. Next, I want to show you how little energy is needed for moving at an acceptable pace. So moving at 4 to 5 knots, I need barely any energy, about 500 to 1300 watts. And this means that if it's not absolutely rainy, I can charge up the batteries while I'm cruising, unless they are already at 100%. But now something more interesting: how fast can we reasonably move while traveling for real long ranges? Talking about day cruising, 40 to 80 nautical miles. What speed does make sense? With this type of day cruising, I will usually be able to charge up my battery to 100% during the next day, unless I absolutely go to like 5% or 0%. That would not be optimal, because then I have to throw the anchor and paddle ashore. That has happened once currently in the Baltic Sea in the middle of the night. But if there's some clouds, a bit of sunshine, I will always get 100% very quickly, and that actually tells me one thing: I should get more batteries. Now then, 4000 to 4500 is the number for sustained optimum speed of 7 knots, depending on the weather, of course. 6000 is for shorter trips, or in case of headwind above 35 knots, where additional thrust is needed. The windage profile is pretty low, so it actually performs in headwind. I did a test already, gonna upload that in the next video, the headwind performance in heavy gusts. It's worth noting that during this 7-knot day cruise test, we were also both working on our laptops, charging our phones, our power banks, and roughly consumed about 500 watt hours. It's not that significant, but it's worth highlighting that you really can run any normal systems on board, even when cruising. Dishwashers, heating, fridges, water makers, entertainment, etc. all are taken for granted, even when cruising, if the boat is designed for that purpose. So this speed of 7 knots when cruising in light headwind of around 10 knots just feels amazing. It's a combination of knowing that I need no fuel, no lifting or adjusting of sails, and yet I'm vastly outpacing sailing boats of comparable size. On average, let's say a 10-meter liveaboard sailing boat would be cruising at 5 knots true speed, while I'm going 7 on day cruises on the Helios 11 that actually costs significantly less and has pretty much no maintenance. An important remark to make about the comparisons with sailing boat is that in terms of living space and coastal cruising performance, I'd compare my narrow, almost 11 meter, 1.5 ton plywood prototype with a 12 to 13 meter, 8 ton production sailing boat. There's way more usable living space in this one. It's just so effortless to operate. You really save a lot of the travel time when you can head out immediately at your cruising speed. So yeah, the Helios 11 is pretty much faster than a 12-13 meter production sailing boat in average conditions. However, open Atlantic passages, for example, are different. Naturally, the Helios 11 is still too light for comfort, as my massive battery upgrades have been delayed. To take the speed and range to another level, I want to make another test in a couple months. That would be installing a proper wave-piercing reverse bow and bulb that enhances both comfort and hydrodynamics. The full day cruise speed will rise to 7.5 knots. Look at that water splashing as the bow pushes the small wave's side. It's not terrible, but could be way smoother while producing significantly less resistance as the bow is improved. When I built the Helios 11, I didn't actually expect so high sustained cruising speeds, and that's the reason I didn't make the bow as wave piercing as I would like it to be currently. The current wave piercing is excellent for speeds of 6 knots and below, but as the speeds rise to above 7 knots, even in headwind and chop, the need for a sharp bow entry becomes exponentially more important. Furthermore, if solar keeps improving and I also add just a couple more panels on the boat for like 400 USD, it would make sense to upgrade the motor to a 12 kilowatt outboard instead of the current 6 kilowatt motor. This higher efficiency motor would surely lift the day cruise speeds beyond 7.5 knots and shorter, under 50 nautical mile cruises to make complete sense at 8.5 knots. The top speed would be nearing 10 knots. That would be fun, but honestly not sustainable for longer than 3-hour trips. Now that was a pretty good test run. We made it to Cap d'Agde, covering roughly 45 nautical miles today. We started around midday, maintained a speed of about 6.5-7 knots all the time. Was a bit of headwind, roughly 3 to 6 meters headwind, but that didn't seem to slow us down that much. Obviously, we needed more thrust against the headwind, against the waves. In calm conditions, we would have the same speed at around 3000 watts. Now we were driving at 4 to 4.5 thousand watts. So as I've said, this is a bit too good to be true. When you run the numbers, you start doubting, will it actually work? And now that I've literally tested it, I see that it's definitely working. And here are some other estimates I have of like a full day of cruising, 24 hours. And when I made that roughly 100 nautical mile day range, it's still very much accurate, and I would actually increase it to 120 nautical miles. Because with the current setup, you can definitely maintain 6 knots for 24 hours straight, even more if you have full sunshine. Now this is just the spring of France, and we're seeing really good numbers on the solar panels that I still intend to extend a bit without really adding anything to the boat, just simple more panels on surfaces that are not used for anything yet. Today I saw not a single sailing boat actually sailing into my direction because the wind was not that heavy and it was headwind. I only saw sailing boats coming downwind, and still they were moving significantly slower than I did. I'm just very happy that this is working on a plywood backyard build with basic solar panels, very inexpensive batteries, and it still works. So it gives a very clear signal to move into proper builds that will just race across the oceans even faster than power boats, because power boats run out of fuel. Now I'd like to thank everybody for supporting this mission. Every subscribe, YouTube membership, super like makes a huge difference and allows me to keep making these videos and also these prototypes, so we can take it to the next level and unlock total freedom on the seas. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.